All right, folks, welcome to Street City Studio. If you're new here, my name's John. There we go. And I've got a new toy to look at today. Normally, I would do the unboxing, but I couldn't really wait. I was too excited and I wasn't prepared to film the video or wait. But I got myself one of them grails, or whatever they want to call them, right? Something I've been thinking about for a long time. And I think we all grew up on some of these old Toy Biz figures, right? And these guys here were some of my favorite figures. And so they've stuck around, or even if I've lost them, I've ended up buying Strong Guy here several times because his paint starts to wear off or whatever. Right? I had one, his hand broke open. I think he had a prop in there that was probably a little too snug and he fell over or something. But anyways, so these guys are definitely at the top of my list of favorite figures ever, right? And especially some of these, right, old. I don't really like a lot of play features on figures. Oh geez, he's got some dust on him. That's what I get just grabbing them off the shelf before the video. That's what I mean. I wasn't really prepared. I like to prepare my videos a little more usually. But I really liked some of these old figures. They were simple. And even, right, some of the articulation, like here, it's real limited, 5 points or whatever. But, like this Venom, for example, right? He was one of the first figures to really get what I considered the full range of articulation at the time, but it really isn't. He can't turn his neck, he ain't got no wrists or ankles, but a lot of the figures I get these days, I have to put up with that anyways, right? So anyways, I'm going to keep this rolling. I'm probably spending too much time on them guys. But I've always wanted some more articulated, better options. And so I was real hesitant. I've been kicking it around for a long time. Oh, let me see if I can move this camera a little bit. Not as much as I need to. Keep springing back. That's fine. But anyways, I ended up getting myself. Yeah, that's not gonna do much. Let's just get right to the figure. X Factor's Strong Guy. And now I've gone back and forth for a while about whether or not I should get this figure or even to build a figure. But this one comes with the extra hands and an extra head. Right? So you get some closed fists, some open hands for holding things like his giant weight here. And it's really cool. This guy thumb, or even just a thumbs up, I suppose, but I'll probably mostly use it for the this guy thumb. And also the extra head, which is a pretty classic, standard Strong Guy head. And that'll probably be the head that I use the most. So let's go ahead and swap them right now. And I already had them swapped, but for the purposes of this video, I was swapping them back because this is the head that was on them in the packaging. I was gonna stick them back in the packaging and start the video like that, but I figured that was a whole lot of work for nothing, I guess. Right? And so we got these extra hands, and there we go. So there's a strong guy. Right. And now, a lot of people in the 3 3/4 communities, I've asked around and even had asked, I think at some point on Facebook, I'd asked some people if they could get me some comparison shots of strong guy next to, oh yeah, he's a heavy guy, and you gotta get him positioned just right or he doesn't want to stay up for very long, and it probably doesn't help. My flooring here is probably a little soft. It's not the most solid material, so a heavy guy like him probably put some feet prints in it. Let's get some space here. Get these guys back out of the way. I was just making a point that even this can go a little bit. So yeah, a lot of guys I had asked around, and a lot of collectors had told me this just wouldn't work with my 3 3/4 figures, and I kind of, I thought I agreed, I guess, but I've been thinking about it since I first seen the Build-A-Figure, really, and there's other figures too that I'm thinking about still getting, like that Blob. I really like the Marvel Legends Blob. And so you can see, oh, there he goes. This table's definitely not the most sturdy either, so that doesn't help a lot. He didn't fall down on my shelf the whole time I had him up there, but this black foam board probably doesn't help. But so you can see, he's clearly, right, he's huge. And especially if you try to stick in 3 3/4 figures next to his weights here, right, that doesn't look like anything you would ever expect one of these guys to lift, right? Stick John there. You think John's gonna lift that? No, come on. But just like this figure, and even a lot of my other bigger figures, Hulk and such, I like to squat them out a little bit, right? Bend their legs, bend their knees, right? And so he can get quite a bit lower, even though it would probably do him a lot of good if I came in with a Dremel tool and expanded that hip gap a little bit up under the belt here. And the belt's a loose piece, so you could probably easily pull it back down and cover any material you trim away, right? But again, that's just a thought. I'm not recommending you guys go tear up your toys. But if you're into customs and you want some better posing, I could definitely see extending that gap in there a little bit so that he could really crouch out more, because these legs really are well articulated. It's just that big guy problem, I guess. But I find that if you squat them out a little bit, just like you kind of should be anyways, I think, right, I find that works much better. And especially if you get that barbell out of the picture, That barbell really sets the scale, I think. It sets a tone, kind of. So I'll just scoot that back there a little bit. There we go, if he doesn't fall over immediately. And I don't have enough X Factor options. But that was one of the deciding factors on getting him, was because I want more X Factor on my shelf. I'm a big fan of Strong Guy. Guido Carosella, right? I always liked his costume and his look. I always liked his glasses. I always liked his haircut. I'm getting older. Now that I'm getting older, I'm losing some of my hair. I've thought about using this haircut, right? I'm losing the hair in the front. I thought about shaving the rest just so that, just so that you could think I still had a little bit of bangs. But I do. I like his glasses. I like the goofy look on his face. Right? That was a deciding factor too, right? Because that's not a bad head sculpt. But that's classic right there. And even the, I think the smiling face on the Build-A-Figure helps it come together there too. If I can stick a smiley face on him, maybe with this thumb, right? That'll work really well, I think. But yeah, so you start sticking some guys in front of him. And for me, that works, right? Maybe we'll stick one up here on top of him. No, that's not going to work as well as I was hoping. Well, maybe it will. Yeah. Let me get his hand on his thumb here for a little grip. There we go. Yeah, see? So that works really good. I am of the opinion that this Marvel Legends Strong Guy works pretty perfectly in scale, in 3 3/4 inch scale. Marvel Universe figures need a X Factor. Need a Strong Guy figure for your X Factor. I'm convinced the Build-A-Figure works. The single release. Oh yeah, I can't even get that box in there. Yeah, but his single release figure, or the Build-A-Figure. Personally, we haven't talked about it much, but I think there's things I like about the Build-A-Figure better than this one. I really like, this face, for example. This head sculpt is probably my favorite out of all three. But I like the metal detailing on the zipper. They even could have maybe done some on the ribbing. But on the other figure, I prefer the yellow extended all the way down past his little shoulder harness here. And I think I prefer the silver, right? The all silver instead of this blue metallic. I don't hate the blue metallic. I think that's more that just the solid silver is more classic. Strong guy. Just like the back of the shirt, that just feels more classic strong guy to me. I think I'm undecided about which badge I prefer. I was trying to look at them and really decide. All right, the yellow, there we go. The yellow backed badge is pretty much what I'm more familiar with, I think. Right? A lot of the artwork that we've grown up with, the toys we grew up with, right? He always kind of had that yellow back badge, but I think a lot of the more modern stuff, right, as you get into the mid-90s, late 90s, and kind of moving forward, right, they kind of standardized the white backed badge. And I don't hate the white backed badge, but it just kind of separates it from some of this art that you grew up with, I guess, right? Like he comes with that barbell prop, but the figure looks more like the Build-A-Figure, even down to the blue collar under his yellow jacket, right? This one has a flushed open neck going on, right? Under the yellow coat there. But it's a really nice figure, and it fits my need for he's not gonna stay this time. All right, I'm not gonna try. We'll keep moving here. But it works. I think a lot of 3 3/4 guys, or maybe even the Marvel Legends guys, tend to think these guys are tiny and guys like these are huge, and he is, but he's kind of supposed to be, right? I think the more you throw in, you can sometimes throw off the scale, like those weights. But certain figures, like here, he's not gonna fit in there. But like my Surtur, right? Marvel Legends Surtur. He's supposed to be big. He works big. If he wasn't big, it wouldn't work. Right? And likewise, strong guy here. He needs to be big to work. Certain things might throw his scale into question, like this dumbbell. Right, you see other guys like Havoc and Multiple Man standing around that dumbbell. It looks weird. But he's really not that much taller than some of my other tall figures, right? Like my Hulkbusters, or even some of my bigger Hulks. Where's right here? My Ang Lee Hulk right next to him here, and see. Right. And so basically that's within my scale, right? Maybe it doesn't work for everybody. And I do wish I could crouch him out a little more. If I end up with the multiples ever, like if I buy the Build-A-Figure, because I definitely want that smiling head. Maybe I'll extend that crouch joint a little bit so he can crouch even lower. And you can kind of spread his legs to crouch him just a tiny bit more, but he starts to look unnaturally stretched, and oh, that kind of works if he doesn't fall over. But for me, that's perfect. Right? His scale is perfect. Having the extra hands and the extra heads, that's awesome. I can't wait to get some really good shots. I need to get more characters now because I need to fill out my X Factor. I need Polaris and Wolfsbane. Who else? They've had lots of characters on the team, but those. Oh, Valerie Cooper. That's what I need. Valerie Cooper. But from there, I think it's not so much as a large team, right? You got Havoc, Polaris, Multiple Man, Strong Guy, and Wolfsbane. That's kind of your core team, right? I need some multiple men with trench coats and that leather jacket version of Havoc. Well, there isn't a version, but you know what I mean. The version of Havoc that wears a leather jacket with the team, right? The team costumes. That's what I need. Well, I have to be custom stuff though, because they didn't make no trench coats and they didn't make no Havoc with a coat. I think the last one. I'm trying to think, there was a Toy Biz one, right, from around this time, this line. And it looked really good, but just like the rest of these, it's 5 points of articulation and not really scaled to that. But he might be a good shelf filler. I know I got another one. I forgot all about him. Random. Random's a great one to have on your X Factor team. Right, and he scales really well with the group too. I like that. I could just sit back and look at this for a minute. Let me get him out of here. But for me, that works. That works. I couldn't ask for a better Strong Guy figure. I was nervous. I was nervous that it wasn't going to work. And so many people told me it's just too big and it won't work. But I think it does. Right? Even if it didn't, for me, at least, this figure, right? I understand. Let's get him straightened back out a bit here to show really how much he towers over these guys. This figure, for me, that could be almost a statue, right? I could have this just on a end table or a shelf by itself somewhere, not surrounded by the other figures. And even this prop, look at these guys. Black in the view. Let's get them out of there. And get this prop in his hand. I kind of like this weight, but it throws his balance off a lot. Makes him harder to stand, especially on this black mat. Maybe pop this hand out. This one in. There. Oh, you can't even see him. Let's tip it. But see, like that, you could have them just on a shelf like that somewhere. I like that a lot. Even if I didn't have the rest of these figures to kind of round it out, I think I would want that on my shelf somewhere. Trying to balance him against this thing so he doesn't tip over. That works. Alright, well, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. Like I said, I don't have the rest of the team at the moment. That'll be my next step. I don't know what I'm going to do about Polaris. I believe Toy Biz has a Wolfsbane that I can end up using. I don't believe Marvel Universe ever made one. I don't think they have a Polaris Wolfsbane. They definitely don't have Random. But, like I said, just squat him out a little bit, and he's perfect. Right. He is bigger than my Hulks. Bigger than most everybody on my shelf, except for maybe like a Surtur. Like I said, I brought Surtur over a second ago. Bigger than I got Galactus and a Sentinel, right? The Marvel Universe Sentinel. But as far as standard basic figures, but I mean, he's not supposed to be a small guy, so I don't mind it. I know a lot of the artwork I loved of Strong Guy and X Factor. Right? You always had just the whole background filled by Strong Guy. So that's pretty perfect for me. I can't wait to start getting some group shots. But I gotta fill the group out to get some bigger group shots too. But, I mean, that works, right? Here, let's see. I'll try and do a quick, tiny little action shot. Not terrible. Unarticulated, random action shot, maybe. Get Strong Guy's fist, maybe. Swap him out here. Oh yeah, look at that. That works pretty good. Actually, let me see. Maybe oh, I thought I had a little piece of fire around here. I don't see it though. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah. Maybe stick some of this fire in the barrels of his guns here. Like some muzzle flash. That's not gonna stay. Oh, how's that? Does that work? No. It just looks like junk. That's okay. Trial and error sometimes, right? That works though. That works really well. I like it. I think that's probably where we're gonna wrap it up. I'm happy with that. As always, I appreciate you guys coming by, checking out my new toy, checking out my little videos. Hope you guys all have a good rest of your week. Well, it's the end of the week now. I don't know if I'll get this posted today. It's Sunday today for me. But I might post it on Monday if I don't get to it today. So either have a great rest of your weekend or have a great start to your week, or both. All right? Appreciate you guys. Take care. Talk to you again real soon.